My name is Isabella. I am 25 years old. I live in Miami. I work as a painter. I paint small things for shops. Sometimes I paint flowers on walls. Sometimes I paint signs or pictures for windows. It is not easy. The money is small. I live alone. I have no family now. My parents passed away many years ago. I have no brothers. I have no sisters. I have no one. I rent a small room. It is clean, but very small. I have one bed, one chair, and one table. I have a small fan for hot days. I eat simple food, rice, bread, and soup. I do not eat out. I do not buy new clothes. I try to save every dollar. Sometimes I skip dinner. Sometimes I cry at night. But I wake up each morning and work. That is my life. Just work, sleep, and try again. One rainy morning, I painted a window at a small cafe. My shirt was wet. My hands were cold. I was almost finished when a man came inside. He had gray hair and a long coat. He looked about 60. He walked slowly. He sat at a table near the door and watched the rain. Then he looked at me. I looked away. When I finished painting, I cleaned my brushes. The man stood up and walked to me. He smiled. It was a soft, kind smile. "You look tired," he said. His voice was calm. I smiled a little. "It is just a long day," I said. He nodded. "You work very hard," he said. Then he walked away. The next day, I painted a new wall near the cafe. The same man walked by. He saw me and smiled. I smiled back. He waved his hand and walked inside. Later, he came out and gave me a small cup of tea. "It's warm," he said. "You can drink it." I thanked him. He smiled again and walked away. I drank the tea. It was sweet and soft. I felt strange. No one gave me tea before. Not like that. The next day he came again. He brought me bread with the tea. "You need to eat," he said. I felt shy. "Thank you," I said. I did not know what else to say. His name was Edward. He came every day. He always smiled. He always brought tea or bread. Sometimes he brought flowers, small flowers from his garden. He never asked questions. He never made me feel afraid. He just talked kindly. I started waiting for him. I looked at the cafe door many times. When he came, my heart felt warm. I was not sure why. He was much older. He looked like my father could have looked, but he was gentle. I liked his voice. I liked his eyes. They were not cold. They were soft. One day, he sat with me on a bench near the cafe. He looked serious. "Isabella," he said, "I want to talk." I looked at him. My hands felt cold. "You live alone," He said, "You have no family. You work hard every day. Life is hard for you." I looked down. I did not speak. "I want to help you," he said. I looked at him again. "Why?" I asked. He smiled a little. "Because I care," he said. "And I see you." He stood up. "Please, think about what I said," he said. Then he left. That night, I sat in my room. I looked at my small table. I looked at the wall. I thought about his words. No one said they cared about me before. No one looked at me like that. What did he mean? The next day, I was working again. He came and gave me a letter. He did not say much. "Please read this," he said. "Then think." He smiled and left. I held the letter in my hand for a long time. I did not open it right away. I was scared. My heart beat fast. What was in the letter? Later that night, I sat on my bed and opened it. The paper was small and clean. His handwriting was careful. The letter said he wanted to help me. He said he could pay for my rent. He could help with food and work. He said he would not ask for anything, but he wanted something too. He said he wanted marriage. My hands started to shake. Marriage? I could not sleep. I sat by the window. The rain fell again outside. My heart felt heavy. Was he serious? Was this real? I had no family. I had no help. Life was hard every day. My job was small. My money was never enough. And now, someone wanted to marry me. Someone wanted to help me. But was this right? I thought about his face, his kind voice, the way he gave me tea, the way he smiled. He never asked for anything before. He was always respectful. But marriage? Was this love? Or just help? The next morning, I did not work. I stayed in my room. I read the letter again. I walked around the small space again and again. My feet were cold. My head was full of thoughts. That afternoon, he came again. He stood outside the door of the cafe. It was raining again. His coat was wet, but his smile was the same. I walked to him. I held the letter in my hand. "I read it," I said. My voice was quiet. He waited. I looked at his face. I looked at the street. "I will marry you," I said. He did not move. Then he smiled. His eyes were soft. "Thank you, Isabella," he said. Truly. There was no hug, no kiss, no celebration, just two people in the rain, just two hearts trying to understand. He said we could marry next month. A small wedding, no party, just a paper, a ring, and a promise. That night, I sat on my bed again. I looked at my hands. They felt warm and cold at the same time. I asked myself again and again, did I do the right thing? Would I be safe? Would I be sorry? The rain fell harder. I listened to the sound. It was soft and strong. I whispered to myself, "Time will tell." The next morning, I started painting again. My hands moved, but my heart was full of thoughts. A new life was coming. A strange life. Maybe a better one. Maybe not. But I said yes. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The days passed slowly. Edward did not come every day now. He said he wanted to give me time and space. I kept working. I painted shop windows and cafe walls. I tried to keep my mind busy, but the letters stayed in my bag. His words stayed in my head. I thought about the wedding. I thought about his offer. It still felt strange, but I had said yes. One morning, Edward came to see me again. He brought a paper with a date. It was the wedding day. He said, "Only a few people will come. No party. Just a small moment. Only if you still want to." I looked at the paper. I said softly, "Yes, I will be there." I did not tell anyone. I had no one to tell. I did not buy a dress. I had no money for that. I found an old white dress in my closet. It was simple. I washed it by hand. I ironed it with care. It looked soft and clean. I tied my hair with a white ribbon. That was all. The day came. The sky was cloudy. The air felt warm but heavy. I walked alone to the small building. It was a quiet place near the edge of the city. Edward waited outside. He wore a black suit. He looked clean and calm. He held a small bouquet. The flowers were not from a shop. They were from his garden. "Hello," he said. "You look nice." "Thank you," I said. We walked inside together. There were only 5 people there. I did not know them. I think they were his old friends. The man who spoke the words was kind. He smiled at both of us. The room was quiet. No music played. There were no cameras. Only our hands, our eyes, and 2 simple rings. Edward said, "I will care for you always." I said, "I will try." We put the rings on. The man said we were now married. Edward looked at me. His eyes were soft. "Let's go home," he said. We left the building. No one clapped. No one cheered. I did not mind. It felt like a dream, slow and quiet. His home was far from the busy streets. We took a short drive. I looked out the window. My heart beat fast. I had never been to his home before. I did not know what to expect. The house was small but strong. It had old walls and big windows. It smelled like flowers and wood. There were books on every shelf. The chairs looked soft. The curtains were thick and red. The air inside was warm. "This is my home," he said. "It is your home too now." I looked around. "It is quiet." "Yes," he said, "but it is safe." That first night, I slept in a new room. The bed was big. The pillow was soft. But I could not sleep. I looked at the ceiling. I felt like a guest. I was not afraid, but I was not calm either. Edward did not come to my room. He gave me space. He did not ask for anything. That made me feel better. He was respectful. He was kind. Still, I asked myself, is this really my life now? The next morning, I woke up early. I walked to the kitchen. Edward was already there. He had made tea. He had made bread. The smell was sweet. A small cup waited for me on the table. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning," I said. We ate in silence, but it was not a cold silence. It was soft, like quiet music. Every day was the same. He made tea. I helped in the kitchen. He worked in the garden. I watched him from the window. He hummed small songs. He looked happy. One rainy afternoon, he came inside with a box. "For you," he said. "Books." I opened the box. Inside were storybooks. They had simple titles and warm covers. "Thank you," I said. I smiled a little. We started talking more. I asked him about his garden. He told me about the flowers. I asked him about his past. He spoke softly. He said he had no wife before. He had no children. He once worked in a bookshop. Now, he liked to grow herbs and read. I listened to his stories. They were not big stories. No adventures, no travel, but they were kind stories. His voice was nice. His eyes stayed soft. One evening after dinner, he poured me more tea. "I'm glad you're here," he said. I looked at him. I felt something new in my chest. Not fear, not duty, just warmth. I said, "Thank you." The next morning, the sun came through the windows. I woke up and smiled. Just a little smile. I walked to the kitchen. He was baking again. He saw me and said, "Try this one." The bread was warm. I took a bite. It tasted sweet and soft. That day, he showed me the garden. Flowers were blooming. The herbs smelled fresh. "Nature teaches patience," he said. I liked that. We sat outside for a long time. We talked about books. We talked about simple things. He never asked me about my past. He never told me how to feel. He just listened. He just smiled. That touched me. I started to see him not just as an old man. I saw him as a kind man, a person with a gentle heart, someone who never wanted to hurt me, someone who gave without asking. One night we sat on the porch. The stars were bright. The air was cool. I held my cup of tea and looked at him. He said nothing. I said nothing. But I felt safe. Maybe this was not just about help. Maybe something was growing. It was small. It was slow. But it was there. The next day, I helped him in the kitchen. I made soup. He baked bread. We laughed when I dropped the spoon. He helped me clean it. He said, "You are doing well." That evening we ate together. I did not feel like a guest anymore. I felt like part of the home. Later, I walked outside alone. I saw two women from the market. They looked at me and whispered. One of them said, "She only married him for money." The words hit my heart. I felt shame. I walked back home quickly. Edward saw my face. He touched my hand. "Words mean nothing," he said. "I know who you are." I did not cry, but my eyes were wet. That night I asked him, "Why did you help me?" He looked at the stars. "Because you needed kindness," he said. I felt something move inside me. I had never heard that before. Not like that. Not for me. The next morning, I woke up early. I made tea. I brought it to him. "Thank you," he said. That time, I smiled first. Weeks passed. The days were calm. We shared stories, tea, and small meals. We worked side by side. We said few words, but they were true. I noticed his eyes more. I noticed how he looked at me. Not with need, not with power, but with care. I started to feel something. I didn't want to run. I didn't want to hide. I wanted to stay. I was not sure if this was love, but it was more than help, more than duty. It felt real. One morning, Edward left early. He said he needed to go to the city. I stayed home. I drank tea alone. I looked at the books he gave me. The house felt quiet, more quiet than usual. I waited by the window. I looked at the garden. I listened to the wind. I missed him. When he returned in the evening, he brought small flowers. "Just for you," he said. My heart beat a little faster. I took the flowers and smiled. "Thank you," I said. That night, I sat by the window. I touched the necklace he gave me. It was small, not expensive, but it was the first gift I wore because I wanted to, not because I had to. Later that evening, he made tea and sat across from me. "You seem happier these days," he said. I looked at him and nodded. "Yes, I think I am." I didn't say more, but I felt it in my heart. Not fear, not pain, but peace. I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel lost. Each day felt softer. We worked in the garden. We baked bread together. I painted a small corner of the kitchen. He said it looked beautiful. I smiled more. He noticed. He said my eyes looked brighter. I felt stronger inside. Then the season changed. The air became cooler. The sky was clear. The flowers in the garden opened. The rooms in the house felt warm. Edward and I sat by the fire one evening. He looked at me. His eyes were gentle. He reached for my hand. "Are you happy, Isabella?" he asked. I looked at him for a long time. Then I said, "I married for money, but now I stay because I want to." He touched my face gently. I leaned closer. Our lips met for the first time. It was not fast. It was soft and warm. Not for gold. Not for need. It was for love. That night we sat quietly. He held my hand. My heart felt light. I whispered, "I once doubted this. Now I feel everything." He kissed my forehead. "So do I," he said. The days that followed were slow and calm, but everything felt new. We laughed more. We cooked new things. We walked outside often. We watched birds and clouds. We talked about nothing and everything. One day, I walked into town alone. I went to the market. I bought fruit and flour. I smiled at people. They smiled back. I didn't feel small. I didn't feel ashamed. I felt like someone new. Then I heard two women behind me. They were whispering again. "She only did it for the money," one said. "It's not real." I felt their words hit my back. But this time, I didn't walk away fast. I stood still. I turned and looked at them. I didn't say anything, but I looked into their eyes. Then I walked away slowly. My head was high. I was not their story. That evening, I told Edward what happened. He listened. He said, "People talk when they do not know the truth. But we know. That's enough." I nodded. I believed him, and I believed in us. We kept living. Simple, small days. He showed me how to make jam. I showed him how to paint tiny flowers on the wall near the table. We made a small bench for the garden. We sat there many afternoons, hands close, hearts open. One morning, I brought him tea again. He took my hand and kissed it. "Thank you, Isabella," he said. "You are light in this house." I looked at him and said, "So are you." Later, he became sick for 2 days. I took care of him. I made soup. I changed the cloth on his head. I read to him. When he slept, I sat near him. I watched his face. I felt scared, but I also felt sure. I did not want to lose him. When he felt better, he smiled and said, "You stayed." I said, "Of course I did." Then I whispered, "I love you." It was the first time I said it out loud. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. I love you too. The next day, I painted a new picture. It was of our garden. Flowers, a bench, and 2 cups of tea. I gave it to him. He hung it near the front door. We will see this every day, he said. Seasons passed. Our love grew like the garden. Not fast, not loud, but deep and steady. I did not feel poor. I did not feel lost. I felt loved. I felt strong. One afternoon, I sat with him on the porch. I held his hand. We looked at the sky. He said, "You saved me." I said, "No, you saved me." He smiled. Maybe we saved each other. And I knew it was true. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.